Okay. That's going. It's up. It's on. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Houston with Problem. It's Friday. It's after dark. We got Monkey Butt on the floor behind me. It's the first really warm day in the Northwest. And the upstairs is getting up there. Well, it's supposed to be like in the 80s tomorrow, which is, rare for us. Let's see here. Tomorrow, well, 75, which is probably hotter than that tomorrow. So yeah, it's warm upstairs in our unconditioned Northwest home. So if I'm a sweaty mess, I apologize ahead of time. Anyway, let's see here. So the big news is there was the motion filed in New York court, what they call it Supreme Court, but really it's just District Court in New York. They just give a grandiose name in New York for some reason. And that filing is to obtain the blue sheets, and it's a yes or no, 48 hours from when it's filed to when the judge has to make a ruling. And the clerk misfiled it. So a judge never got assigned. So they assigned the judge today. We should hear Monday, yay or nay. So will we get the blue sheets on that for MMTLP? Not a clue. I think they're also including some other stocks in that filing as well. Bed Bath & Beyond took back their filing for selling more shares to raise money and the vote for the reverse split. What does that mean? I don't know. Maybe it means they have a buyer. Maybe it means they wouldn't be allowed to do it while they're in bankruptcy proceedings to sell securities in a company that's going to die if it gets delisted. I don't know. But I have stupidly bought 250 call options for June 16th at 50 cents because they were 2 cents each. So I bought them. Either it's going to be a $500 write-off or it's going to be something that's some good walking around money. But don't be like me. I'm an idiot. That's what I did. The other news monkey, I have no idea. So I'm just going to click this. Okay. Off. The other one's off. Everything's off. We're good. I'm not your friends here. Awesome. Casey Chapman is sad the Grizzlies lost. Well, the Kraken are currently losing with like 2 minutes left in the third period, which means they're going to a game 7 most likely. Sigh. RVing happens. Oh boy, will he or won't he? Will he or won't he what? Aaron Salentine, Houston. What do you think of that random short squeeze of top? The stock went from $6 to 260 high, 1 day squeeze. No one's paying attention. Do you believe it? Believe a margin call? Are things falling apart behind the scenes with the banks and hedge funds? What's your opinion? Top is a Chinese stock, and the Chinese stocks, they halted all the IPOs for about 6 months in the Chinese stocks because every single time a Chinese stock IPO'd, it did this. And every single time it did this, it was because you have these underwriters. They're sponsoring the stock here in America, right? Might be Solomon Smith Barney, Goldman Sachs, who knows? And they get guaranteed a certain number of shares they can do with whatever they want, so long as they underwrite the IPO offering. And what these guys do, and they've done it several times now, did it with HKD and with like TRMN or whatever they were, all the other ones, is they sold these to their buddies for cheap. They went, all right, we sold that to my friends. We got some friends. We made some deals. And then the IPO comes and the company from China never delivers shares. So essentially the underwriter sells millions of shares naked because they haven't had them. They don't have them yet. And then they never get them and they got to scramble and get them. And it's been squeezing like this. Anytime they do these Chinese IPOs, it does a squeeze like this because the Chinese know that they're not going to deliver the shares. They've learned all they get is a little slap on the wrist, and they want to watch their stock price go absolutely bonkers. So when they do release the shares, they can make a fortune off of them. So that's what happens every single time. So I don't think it has to do with margin calls. I don't think it has to do with anyone using one of these companies as leverage. I think it has everything to do with market manipulation by those in Hong Kong and China, knowing that they'll just never deliver the shares and force a squeeze on day one, every single time. I think that's what happens. That the underwriters promised shares, the shares never got delivered. I just wish I'd been paying attention. I was paying attention to like when the Chinese stocks were IPOing and then they put the cancel on it. And then I haven't been paying attention since. And I wish I had been paying attention. That would have been nice. Bex Houston, after midnight Eastern Standard Time, sleep is for the weak. It is for the weak. It's for the weak and for the morning people. We don't do that around here. Tetiana Popova. Hello, any news on Emmat and Rose's case? No news on Emmat. Rose's case, no news yet. We are probably 7 to 10 days away from hearing from the judge in Florida. So it should be about the end of the first week of May. So maybe by a week from Monday, we might hear something. But you can't set your clock to when a judge is going to do it. Everything's on their prerogative. So we're waiting. First Republic Bank being taken over by the government. Who's next? PacWest? Maybe. Those who are getting puts across the board on banks are probably doing pretty well right now. And if you got puts at the beginning of the week on First Republic, made $1,000 in every single one of those easily, and you probably bought them for $100. So, nothing like 10x on every single solitary thing in a week. Not too shabby. And we knew it was getting taken over. Like all the rumors were starting on Tuesday. If RC's gonna be taken over, and they don't bother taking over until Friday, when they have the weekend to work through everything. So you had ample warning. I don't know why I didn't do anything about that, but lesson learned. Lesson learned indeed. Michael McMinison, or McManassian? I don't know. I tossed $100, pick up 32 options in June, 50 cents for BBBY. Either I win or lose, small entertainment cost. That's the way I'm seeing it. I picked up $250. Let's see if something happens, right? But again, either you get some walking around money, or the company dies forever and you get a tax write-off. Those are the only two ways you should be looking at it, because it's going to be either or. Either a savior comes in and buys them, or it just dies and then becomes Toys R Us. Yogi 2012. Thoughts on Mark Bastile's filing to get blue sheets? Should know something Monday or Tuesday. Include parent company blue sheets too. Yes, that's what I opened with, was the thoughts on that. I'd be curious to see what the judge's ruling is. Granted, the blue sheets do have like privileged information and personal information on them, so it would be, if they do release it, it'd probably have to go to some sort of special master who clears off the important namey bits and addresses and things, and then releases a redacted version. But this is stuff that should pretty much be available to investors anyway. Like, we should be able to see who has what, pretty much at all times. Who has what? Who's selling what? Who's offering what? Who has what? What are your positions? I think open book on all of it. The ledger should be open. Future Sunday puts on First Republic Bank. Well, I don't think you have opportunity anymore. They got seized, so I don't think they'll be able to trade their stock anymore. David Rodger, why would they vote nay? I feel like the circumstances of this case favor us. The nay vote will probably come around to that information that shouldn't get out. The personal information that would be on the blue sheets. So that might be an argument, which then you just say, hey, special master, sign a special master, have them, Sharpie what they have to. Beyond that, I say release everything. Show us everything. Guitar Stuff. Hi, Houston. Happy birthday. Hi, Guitar Stuff. Aaron Salentine. Going to beat $50 on puts on First Republic Bank. 2 puts. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Johnny G. Diamond Hands. Forget puts and calls. Invest in GME. Do that too. But you got to do something in the meantime while we're waiting for GME to do stuff. It's boring to just sit and wait. That's why I do this show. Because what else are we going to do? Just sit and wait. 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 Wait and sit and wait. And twiddle our thumbs. And we wait. and we're bored. So we need to do something else in the meantime. That's what people are doing. Anything, something else. Poke this, do that, entertain us. Kelly Reed, what's your opinion on this historic rug pull? All bad news in CBDC coming won't make the people not want to participate or trust the government once the rug pull happens. Let reality take its course. Talking about the rug pull of the whole market, just rink, because people can't buy homes, people can't sell homes. Commercial real estate can't get rented. People are renting, aren't paying. Inflation's still bonkers. Food prices are still going up. Fuel prices are still going up. Travel's going down. Airbnb bookings are going down. Hotel bookings are going down. Nuclear war is on the horizon. Chinese real estate's collapsing. Countries can't pay back their bonds. Companies can't pay back their bonds. Bonds that are out there aren't worth spit. But for some reason, the SPY is at 416. Right? Shoot for those record highs on the SPY. Yeah. Nothing but bad news. Let's go for the gold. And I think this is entirely a result of the Fed having the choice to either shit or get off the pot, decided to shit while getting off the pot. And now it's a muddled bit of confusion. And there's just going to be volatility everywhere until it all just bottom falls out. And there you go. That's where we are. It will come down to people, just no one having money. No one's going to have liquidity. No one's going to be able to get loans for payroll or anything else they do. And just the velocity of money is going to grind to a halt. Inflation will collapse, and then they'll turn off the reverse repo program, flood the market with $2 trillion, and it'll be like, woohoo, all over again. Right? That's what they're going to do. Kelly Reed, is UVXY a good hedge? Asking Monkey Butt financial advice. Monkey Butt, UVXY? Well, UVXY does have a half-life because they take fees out of the value, so it does decay over time. But it will spike because it's an inverse index. So when the SPY does collapse the way it should collapse, it will spike. I don't know if it'll spike to highs that we saw when the market was collapsing in 2020, but it'll be significantly higher than it is now. Anything that corresponds with the VIX is going to be a reverse play on the SPY. So that's what you're looking for. I would have thought all of that would have kicked off by now because I don't know how this like bubblegum and popsicle stick economy of ours is hanging together, but it's doing it somehow, and it's boggling my mind how it is. Kelly Reed also wants Moat starts. We should officially all wear red bandanas and kitty t-shirt on our Rowan Kitty. I have a Citadel on Fire t-shirt someone gave me 2 years ago that I've been waiting to wear for when Citadel's on fire. I've not worn it yet. It's pristine. It's been sitting there, just waiting to be worn on one of these shows, and I'm itching for it. And I just haven't been able to wear it yet because Citadel is not yet on fire like it should be. Jason Blackwell, Houston, ran out of shirts with anti-Semitic imagery? Yes. Oh. I can't believe I didn't notice that those pinwheels look like swastikas before I put the shirt on. I don't know if I've ever worn that shirt before. I think it's something that was like a Christmas gift or something from years ago. No me gusta. Aaron Salentine bought a 50-cent call option on BBY. It cost me $1. Expires in 6 weeks. A beat. Yeah. I mean, we should know pretty much if a buyer's coming through maybe in the next week, if that's serious. Once it gets delisted and there's no buyer, then things might be a little tenuous from there as to whether a buyer will be successful. But I think next week should be interesting. It's all gambling, though. It's all gambling. Anna, what are your thoughts on B-Big? That's my thoughts on B-Big. I'm so currently hosed by those assholes. They just tripped over their dicks for 8 months. They're like, hey, we're going to do a crypto dividend. And we're going to do a spin-off. It's going to be awesome. And then they didn't do it. And then they didn't do it. And then they didn't do it. They kept setting dates and then going, oh, no, I'm not going to do that date. And setting another date. Oh, I'm not going to do that. So now I'm not going to do that date. And then they all sued each other. And then stock got halted. And the Cryptide dividend was supposed to release at $10 and was like down to 50 cents in no time. Now it's worth nothing whatsoever. Just a bunch of clowns running that company. And I just don't get it. Just let's spend $500 million a quarter and make nothing. And then trip over our dicks the entire time. They may bounce back. I don't know. But it doesn't seem like anyone competent is on a board of that company. And they get these big ideas and have no ability to follow through. And that seems to be where we are. Their best bet for them would be for TikTok to get banned by the US government, which Facebook is trying to do and YouTube's trying to do. Like, hey, everyone should ban that company because we're going to take over. And then their short video format program will take over. But if that doesn't happen, they're just going to be flopping around like a fish on the beach. So I don't have too much high hopes for them at the moment. Lee Meadows, morning from the UK. That's a really early morning for you in the UK. So, morning. Yogi 2012. I think that time period for response from the judge was based on California courts and doesn't apply to Rosa's court. I thought it was federal courts. It was like 90 days to get a response. But I don't know. I don't know nothing about federal courts or California courts, so not a clue. I just hope that we hear something someday. Sooner than later. Let's hear it. Guitar stuff. Houston, I just found out that Denali isn't a volcano. How is that a thing? There's volcanoes all along there. It might be. I never actually studied about Denali. Let's see here. Might be extinct volcano. Okay. Denali Mountain is composed primarily of igneous rocks. Those are type of rocks that form from volcanoes. Crystallized from magma and metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks are type of rocks that change or altered from the original state into something new due to intense amounts of heat or pressure. For partial events, okay, upper growth mountain referred to as an uplift. Denali is part of Alaska Range, and the uplift of the range as a whole started in the Cenozoic area. So it's uplifted oceanic basalt mostly. So that's the igneous rock, and that is the result. It's like it's a result of two plates smashing into each other, causing one to wrinkle and fold. So it's making the mountains that way, much like the Himalayas. Geological fault where significant amounts of rock have been displaced, and there is such a fault, aptly named the Denali Fault, that has a bend where Denali is situated. This bend causes rocks to stack up on one top of each other and increase the amount of its height. The fault itself runs almost 1,200 kilometers long from the Yukon border all the way to the Bering Sea. The Denali Fault crosses most of Alaska's width and is considered active, causing the height of Denali to increase by about 0.5 millimeters a year. There are many smaller faults throughout the park and preserve. Well, there you go. Let's look at Denali. Let's look. Whoops. I'm on the wrong screen, buddy. Go over there. There we go. Okay. Well, we're at Vancouver, so we'll just go up the coast. Ring. Which one's Denali? At Denali? Which one's Denali? Oh, Denali's further up. Ah, there's Denali. Okay. There you go. 20,000 feet or so. 19,000. What's the peak? Peak is 20,000 and change. Tallest mountain in North America. Yeah. So this is a you see the fault right here. Look at that fault. That's it. That's the fault. That line. That's not too shabby. That's the bend in the fault they're talking about. So yeah, that's how it forms. All these guys along this chain, these are all volcanoes. Volcanoes. And those are from the magma chambers as this plate subducts under the North American plate, or the Northern Eurasian plate. It's all kind of one plate. It's not really like there's multiple plates here. Yeah. There you go. Denali. My cousin Taylor, who is a world-renowned photographer. Taylor Gray Photography. He spent some time in Denali recently. Taylor Gray Visuals. There we go. If I go to this one and I click on that one, and I go there and I turn off this. So let's see here. Let's see if some of this Denali stuff. There's Taylor. Nature. Creatures. Looking for creatures. Look for Denali, buddy. So he's currently in France. He's got a gig on a fancy rich people boat they rent for like $250,000 a week, and then he films and videos them and makes movies out of what they do. And everything is very high pixels, so come on, Taylor, load, my man. Well, that'll load. There'll be pictures of Denali at some point, right? High desert, circle of life, sunsets below. Oh, Arcadia, that might be in there. That's gonna take a while to load because these things are all like super high def. When they load, I'll let you know. Where? Denali question. Aaron Salentine, Houston. What do you think is a good small bank to put puts on? Small bank. All of them. I mean, if you do at the money puts or close to at the money puts for every single solitary bank in every small bank there is, every regional bank, whenever one of these banks gets seized, they all drop up $1 or $2. So you're guaranteed to make some money off like the whole thing. Not financial advisor, not financial advisor. But you'll be up on them for sure. And just all. If you got the cash, every single one of them. Every last friggin' one of them. Do it. TKK's in Denmark. Hello. Peachy Sunday, what do you think of the Wall Street Journal? Articles are good. Opinion section is absolute reactionary garbage. If the Wall Street Journal's opinion editors got set on fire and sent out to sea, the world wouldn't be missing anything. But as a financial reporting, it's okay. It's good. But Rupert Murdoch's going to make sure that the editorial board is the worst human beings you could possibly associate with. Yogi 2012, do you see Nader Diaz choke out that wannabe Logan Paul lookalike? Good times. I saw a video of someone, there was a community notes on Twitter, like, this is not Jake Paul or whatever, or Logan Paul or one of those guys. But the chokeout was quick, and that guy looked like he was dead, to be honest. And the way he checked him out, like pushed his head into his shoulders, that did not look like a good way to have your neck go. Peach Sunday also asks, what do you think of Wall Street Journal's article of Dave Lauer? Seems to portray him as a villainary character with the dark, shadowy picture of him, unreadable book, hidden right hand and dark left hand. I did not see the Wall Street Journal article on Dave Lauer, but Dave's an interesting dude. Like, he's approachable and he'll listen to you, and it may take a while to get the information you're trying to convey across to him. I'm glad he's back on our side with this again, because I mean he does have a following. He does have a lot of people that listen to him. But it was very frustrating those early days trying to explain to him what's happening with MMTLP, and him just being like, "No, the halt was good. The halt was justified." I'm like, "No, it wasn't." They accounted for the S1 was approved, and these dates were approved for a reason. It was going to be position close only for the last 2 days of trading. That was evident in the way that they filed everything, and even the brokers understood this. There was no need for a halt, and I explained it to him, And then Rosa must have explained it to him in a better way because he was like, oh, I get it now. I'm like, she didn't say anything different than I said. But he listened to her. And then he ignored us both, went back to the way he was. And then all of a sudden, after the Jon Stewart thing, all of a sudden he's like, I was wrong. Listen to me. I changed my mind. He went back again. So, like a lot of change has to happen, has to come from the inside, and Dave's one of those guys that works on the inside. So if he's working for our favor on the inside, awesome. If he's giving us lip service, not awesome. And that's you gotta take it with a grain of salt. Okay, a bunch of things loaded, lots of deserts. Lots of really beautiful deserts, Taylor, but where is your Denali? Bears. Okay, here's Alaska stuff. Let's see here. Alaska. Here's Denali. This is all Denali National Park. So, and bears in Denali. A lot of the oversaturated with alluvial material river systems. White sands. More glaciers. Denali, Alaska, Denali. That might be. That's gorgeous. What's this? This might be from his drone. Might be drone photos. That's cool. That's Yosemite. That's the once a year when the sun lines up and makes the waterfall look like it's on fire. Does some cool stuff. So you have his videography. So he worked on movies. He's done shorts, commercials. He's done Nat Geo stuff. So he's done lots of videos for Nat Geo, especially during COVID, because a lot of the British filmmakers couldn't make it to the U.S. during COVID. But these are all ultra HD. Well, yeah. Does good work, man. Does good work. Oh yeah, you guys can't hear anything. How do I... Oh, there we go. There it is. Probably, I can't hear it, but it's probably like super hippie music. Okay. Plug in Taylor there. Good job, Taylor. Anyway, got distracted on that. Yeah, he had the cover of Photography magazine when he was like 14. Was doing print ads for British Airways when he was in high school, and was sponsored by Nikon and DJI, and they fly him all over the world. And they make commercials of him making commercials, which is really meta. So good stuff. And if things line up correctly, we're gonna take them hopefully to Europe. Did I didn't talk about that in here, did I? So, Marius, BLSP Black Death, who's probably still asleep right now because it's Saturday and he's doesn't have anything to do. He's the one who edits the clips out of my shows. We're talking with him, with Scott, who's made the intros for me. He needs to get his shit out of the garage. And our friend Jesse, who's produced Top Chef and American Ninja Warrior and all sorts of stuff. We are looking at September, October, going to Germany and basically going to Europe and filming probably 4 to 6 kind of high quality geology and history pieces for YouTube. Things that are 8 to 12 minutes about particularly cool places to go see, mostly in kind of off the beaten path places, because we discovered that the EU has some tax credit / funding available, grants available if you go film in small towns and not in like the big cities where everyone knows, the big parks where everyone knows. Kind of go off the beaten path. Hopefully we'll get some grants for that, which will go a long ways. But at the same time, it'll still cost thousands. Plane tickets and equipment and hiring a sound guy and cars and travel and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'm flirting with the idea of doing some sort of crowdfunding. Hopefully it's enough to like get us there and feed us for a couple weeks so we can go film. But I got to put that together if I'm going to do that at some point this summer. But yeah, we're hoping to make something neat and get some experience on the road in places I've never been and seeing what we can do travel wise. So let's keep that in mind. If you like the idea of supporting Houston doing something other than sitting in front of his messy bookshelves, being out in the wild, then that could be coming. So we're trying to put that together. We're mulling it over and figuring out which sites we're going to go to. And I can't give too many details, but keep that in the back of your mind. Okay. RVing happens. Lol, all that bad and biting running again. What a country. I mean, most of what's happening is completely out of the hands of whoever's president, because it was all result of global pandemic, corporate stock buybacks, and I think those are the two biggest drivers right there. Is the pandemic resulting in printing and a shortage of goods as a result of logistics problems and people dying and businesses getting shut down due to trying to save lives. It's pretty much out of everyone's hands at this point. It's going to happen. What you want is someone in charge who will follow through with sort of the Keynesian doctrine to build it back up again. You got to get people, like, when it crashes, then it's the government's job to spend. The problem is that we did a lot of spending when we shouldn't have been doing the spending. And then when it comes time to do the spending, we're like, oh, we shouldn't spend that much anymore. But like, oh, it's too late. You got to spend now. You got people working. You got to get projects going. You have to build bridges and highways and schools and trails and national parks and defense contracting crap. And you just got to get people moving around so you get the velocity of money up again. And that's kind of where we're going to be. We're going to have to get the velocity of money up. And so that's probably the really big reason why we've got this gigantic reverse repo right now. They're pulling $2.5 trillion out of the economy every night and just holding on to it so that when things crash, we can just like release the hounds and they do their thing. JH22B. The markets are driven by a new algo, and when they stole the buy button off of us, they had 2.5 years to get new algos. I can't believe people can't understand that. I'm so deep in AMC and Ape, I want to beat the algos. F them. Yeah. The algos work great until they don't, right? That's crazy algorithms get written. The market's behaving according to it, but all you need is someone to screw up somewhere, and then it all gets just taken from you. It spins out of control really fast. We've seen that happen with Lehman Brothers. We've seen that happen with Bear Stearns. We've seen that happen with Washington Mutual, with Wachovia, with SVB, with First Republic, with all the savings and loan scandals in the 80s. Once one little pea in that stack of mattresses gets big enough and everyone notices it, it's like over. They will eat you alive. BlackRock is getting shorted like crazy right now. There's an article that came out today about how everyone's shorting BlackRock now. So they're seeing the weaknesses in the armor there, and they're going for it. Hanwin Wu, Houston. I just found a similar situation like MMTLP. WBEVQ is a private equity still trading on OTC markets. I've never heard of WBEVQ. Well, maybe if it's Q, it means they're bankrupt. So let's see here. That's not super similar since they're really down there. They're fractions of a penny. Almost seller boxed. What are they? Wink Incorporated. Let's see here. They've fluctuated between 2 and 2. 6 months? Okay. So they must have come a Q stock somewhere around here. So in December. For that, they're up in the dollar range. They've been as high as $6 5 years ago, and they've been as high as $10. Oh no, sorry. 2021, they're as high as $10. Whoops. What just happened? Where did I go? I'm going to do that. What did they do? What does Wink do? Wink Incorporated. Wink Inc. Wine Club membership. That's who they are. Why Wink is the best? Is that who? Wine Club membership is online wine club. Wink files bankruptcy a year after company's initial public offering. That's very quick to offer and then go bankrupt. Interesting. Online, oops, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Online wine club, Wink files for bankruptcy a year after going public, and I don't have Bloomberg, but what I do have is I have 12foot.io. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, blue. Please click the box below. There's no box below to click. Oh, you bastards. Bloomberg's onto 12foot.io. What if I go like this? Oh, you bastard. Okay, well, I don't get to read that. Online Wine Club. New York Times gloating about them when they make their wine company-based profile. Amass Brands acquires operating assets of wine company. The deal with Amass comes less than 2 months after Wink filed for bankruptcy. So it looks like they filed for bankruptcy. Amass acquired their assets, and Wink is just going to be sent off into the death land. So I don't know if it's anything good there, Hanwin. I don't think there's much come from them. They are in the Q stock land, and there they be. JH22B, even the RSI trading barcodes now. Has anyone seen a big float stock barcode RSI? I mean, that's the algorithm's doing the thing. Hi, buddy. You want this? You want that right there? Yes, this is correct. I've never seen a dog get up on that thing slower. Oh yeah, you good dog. You good dog. Do you want this? Is that what you want? You want that? Okay. There you go. Be a blanket dog. J22B, not that big. Sorry, not that big, but you should never see AMC or APE SRI barcode like OTC stock. When the barcoding happens, it's the weirdest thing in the world. Because it's just seriously just bouncing between two levels over and over again, like on the minute. It's just strangest thing to look at. Just weird when it does that. And it's so obvious it's an algorithm doing it when it happens. That, it might be two different algorithms fighting each other. I don't know. But humans are not involved in that decision making in any way. RKM, hi Bert Houston, say hi, pet monkey butt for me. Look at that. There's that Tookus right there. Ooh, I'll pet it. J.W. Houston, I'm drunk again. Home in Victoria, Australia. Did you see the quake last night? Wait, there was a quake last night in Australia? What? Oh, the Indo-quake. That's 4 days ago? That one? 7.4 quake. If it was not the Indo-quake a couple days ago, then I don't know. I don't see anything about any quakes yesterday. 1 week ago, power earthquake rocks popular tourist town in Australia. That's 4.9. That's not powerful. That's quake on Australia's doorstep. I got nothing. I heard nothing. No, nothing but quakes. And on C-SPAN, good morning. Good morning. Hanwon Woo, a mass acquired WebEvQ for 10 million. All his outstanding shares should be valued at 79 cents, and now it traded at 2. No one get paid after it's sold. That's because probably the people who can get paid are going to be the people who have bonds. I guess the shareholders are going to be SOL on that one. RKM, what else is built in the TikTok ban bill we should be concerned about? Oh, there's a lot of things we should be concerned about. Some of the big things are it allows the government to basically monitor your internet usage. Bad. It also allows the government to ban essentially the use of using VPNs. So if they do ban something like TikTok and you use a VPN to access TikTok, you can go to prison for 20 years. Just crazy shit like that. So, everyone thought, oh, TikTok ban is just going to be oh, we're banning TikTok. Done. One sentence. No more TikTok. That's it. But it's hundreds of pages of really squirrely, anti-citizen, pro-Big Brother awfulness. And I don't know who's the author of it, but whoever is should be... should have done to them what they're trying to do to us, basically. And oops, I missed where it was. Okay. Ron Johnson, timeline, nuclear bomb testing, UFO crashes due to electromagnetic pulse, tech reverse engineered, and actual Tesla batteries created. Stephen Greer plans to expose at National Press Club in June. Okay. If we had alien technology, I think we could do better than lithium-ion batteries. That's my thing. Lithium-ion batteries are not going to get you from one planet to another. They're unstable. They don't hold charge long enough. There's not high enough efficiency. They don't work well when it's cold. They don't work well when it's hot. So they have a lot of thermal instability. If I were an alien race, being they won't even allow you to have lithium-ion batteries in space machines now because they won't work. If it gets too cold, they won't work. If it gets too hot, they'll explode and burn everything down. So I don't know if aliens gave us lithium-ion batteries. That doesn't make any sense to me. Well, watch for your house. My grief counselor died, and he was so good I don't even care. Dark joke, not real. It's funny. I want to know how you make any salad into a Caesar salad. Stab it 23 times. E2 steak knife. Decatur Raw. Happy birthday, Houston. Just checked on the sweet BBBY options. Strike of $1 for June 19th, going for $2 a contract. Check 20 or for 45 with commissions. And if I got $5, that's 22K I'm in. The upside is very big. The downside is you have your tax write-off for next year. That's basically what it is. I'm not saying put your life savings into it. Don't. Only invest your play money. That's the only thing you ever invest. Is like, well, I could go to get a nice dinner, or I could play this stupid stock. That's all you should ever play with when messing with things like this. But the upside could be very big. And the downside could be you have your tax write-off for next year. Do not put anything to BBBY that you will miss or you need. Like if it's pay rent or throw some money at BBY, pay your rent. Do that. Make sure, your alimony or kids are taken care of or whatever. Like, do that first. And if you've got some leftover dineros, have fun with it and use it as an entertainment expense. But that's all you should do with it. Dustin Wright, 90-day rule. A judge of a court record may not receive salary while any cause before the judge remains pending and undetermined for 90 days after it has been submitted for decision. Oh. That'd be hilarious. Like, sorry, sir, you're not getting paid this month because you waited 92 days to make a decision. J's 22B. My mate has a telescope. It can look at craters in the moon like I was zooming in on a good phone. You can take your phone, put an eyepiece, and zoom in even more if you want. Blow your mind. Goad Padya. Would that video be published on your channel? Yes. If we go make something in Europe, that's definitely getting published on here. So, yeah. Basically, it's a way of like kind of self-producing the kind of show, the Get Your Rocks Off Houston show that I want to make. Because, quite frankly, production companies have been just so frustrating to deal with. We might as well just do it ourselves. And that might be our way in to get a network involved or someone that can underwrite the entire thing. But I signed with this production company. Nothing happened. Contracts expired. So now, other than trying to find a production company, let's just do our own. In that vein, a lot of production companies are running into trouble because Disney, who has Nat Geo and ABC and ESPN and all sorts of stuff, they used to have the rights to showing cricket around the world. And 1 billion people in India subscribed to Disney Plus. Then Disney lost the rights to cricket, and 1 billion people unsubscribed from Disney Plus, and Disney Plus's value went didn't have any cash to make more shows. But I think Disney's going to sue Ron DeSantis for so much money they'll be able to make a lot of shows. As someone joked earlier that Disney is just a law firm with an entertainment arm. DeSantis is so screwed. Yeah, so it's 21st century. I'm coming to you live across the internet to several hundred people, and it's weird. I've got cameras. I've got feet. I've got arms. I've got hands. I've got fingers. I can make things and write things, and we can film it all with HD and edit it on home computers, and we can do some really, really, really nice quality stuff on the cheap, and let's do it. So hopefully September, October, European adventure for a couple weeks, and we're going to go make some cool stuff. And I hope Taylor can come along. He's not booked out, because that'd be really fun to have him along too. because it also would give us a lot of gravitas because he's super quality. Ron Johnson, Taylor Swift tickets $3,000, Pink tickets $2,500, Pearl Jam $1,000, ticket fees $90 per ticket. I thought we were in a recession. Who could pay these ticket prices? It's insane, the price of tickets. Absolutely bonkers. Maybe we need to have like million-seat stadiums or something. So there's just this dot on the horizon that you cannot see who it is, but it's like Taylor Swift, this little ant moving around down there. And you get your binoculars and you go crazy. But I remember when ticket prices were like $50. The first time ticket prices went in the hundreds of dollars, it was Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. This was my experience. And I was like, cool, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. This is like 20 years ago, and ticket prices were like $200. Like, what? It's a concert. Concert should be like $25. What is this? And actually won tickets calling into a radio station. I got to see Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young at the Tacoma Dome for tickets that should have been hundreds of dollars. Now, like, people are like, oh, $200 is cheap for to see a concert. That's bullshit. These bands are able to be like multi-millionaires when tickets are $25. How rich are they getting now? And Ticketmaster is just gobbling up so much. And the StubHub things, you get these like robots who go in, they buy 9 million tickets, and then they throw them all up on StubHub and jack the price up even higher. You get weird tickets like, T-Mobile will sponsor, and all of a sudden T-Mobile will get 1,000 tickets to every concert along the way, and then they can give them away as gifts to their executives and their families and stuff, or whatever. Like, it's weird. Just break up Ticketmaster and what's the name of the events company they bought? Whatever. Break them all up into a million pieces, make them compete with each other. There shouldn't be one company that controls every venue in America. There shouldn't. So stop it now. End it. End the monopoly. Make them compete against each other and draw in artists. And the artists will be like, oh, your ticket fees are really expensive. I can go with these guys over here, and the ticket fees are a lot cheaper. And that's better for my customers, for my fans. So I'm going to go with this venue that has a cheaper ticket processing fees. Because really, there should be no processing fee, like $1 ticket. That should be the processing fee for doing a ticket. And the rest should just go to the venue and the artist. But it's silly. It's really silly. Han Wu just called their CS team this afternoon. They claim themselves a private company. Is that the Wink guys? If they sold off their assets, I don't know what they got left at this point. J22B, who's coming to Wall Street Bets Bar in Patong, Phuket. I know the guy that owns it, plus many more. Post, I will make sure everyone has accommodation. That's for the Post MOAS, because, yeah. Ron Johnson online wine clubs fails because wine sucks. Decatur Raw newspaper has written of First Republic allegedly and stated in a claim JP Morgan and or PNC Financial is trying to buy them this weekend. All premeditated, if you ask me. Can we win one? Damn. I mean, someone's going to... That's what they do, is when they seize a bank, they basically put them up for auction, and another bank has to buy their assets. So someone's going to buy them before Monday. And JP Morgan dumped a lot of money into them, so JP Morgan may be like, we put a lot of money into this, give it to us first. So, we'll see. Hamun Wu, thanks for supporting for the community. Thank you, Hamun Wu. Jason DB, not Australia, Worldquake. Don't know about Worldquake. Earthquake. Any big earthquake news? Dutch researcher once again accurately predicts earthquake in Egypt. Whatever. 4-point magnitude in Hawaii. Earthquake refugees, Turkey. 4-point magnitude in Hawaii. Earthquake short Nepal. I don't know anything about a worldquake last night, but, things be things. Common sense beats intelligence. Matching barcoding suggests there is no market. It's a video game simulator market maker owned. Yeah. Canada passed that today as well under the guise of regulating Disney to have more Canadian content. Yeah. I mean, Canadian content rules do wonders for Canada. It makes them an outsized player on the global entertainment market. So if you're a Canadian network, a Canadian broadcaster, radio station, something like 20 or 30% of everything you play has to be originate in Canada from Canadians. So this forces the government to create ways to give access and to Canadian artists, and it's incredible. The tax credits that happen, cash infusions, the grants makes for a lot of Canadians that get streamlined into Hollywood productions. Hollywood productions will want to come to Vancouver, Toronto to film, Alberta, wherever, and their star might be an American, but then they got to hire a whole bunch of supporting actors that are all Canadian, and they're pretending like they're in Montana in the filming, or they're in San Francisco or Seattle or wherever, and it's a bunch of Canadians pretending they're Americans, and a movie, TV show, etc., goes on to make a cajillion dollars, and then those Canadian actors can be in all sorts of stuff as a result. The Canadian laws are fantastic. If Washington State was smart, and people like to come film in Washington State because they love filming gray skies. It's flat lighting. It makes lighting really easy. They love it. That's why they love Vancouver so much. Washington State should put up a bunch of money, huge tax credits for filming here, and then make rules about hiring Washington residents and to be in their movies. And we can streamline a whole bunch of pasty Northwesterners into Hollywood as a result of that. Let's make shows. J22B, I want to buy AMC private bonds. They're 41 cents on the dollar. Wish I knew that 12 months ago. That's the stuff that, like, when you're a rich dude and you have lots of cash on hand, you look at all the bond prices right now and you go, oh, I want to double my money. I'll just buy a bunch of bonds that are due in a year or two. So you collect the interest rate for a little while, and the interest rate might be garbage for a lot of them, but then you get this huge payout, right? Like, you buy bonds, $300 million in bonds, you buy for $100 million. And you get your 1% interest on that, so you get $1 million a year for 2 or 3 years, and then someone just pays you $100 million at the end of it, or $300 million at the end of it. You just made a fortune. Like, that's the type of stuff that if you're rich, you do. And if you buy the bonds, the company goes bankrupt, well, then you just fight them in bankruptcy court and you get your 41 cents back. But being rich, you have so many more easy things available to you to make money. Ron Johnson, not Elon's fake Tesla batteries based on Nikola Tesla that big oil and the shadow government are hiding. I have no idea what batteries Nikola Tesla made. I know he worked on a bunch, but he kept burning his labs down, so we don't have any paperwork on a lot of the stuff he built. He's the type of guy, too, that like when he finished something, he's like, cool, and moved on to the next thing. So if his lab burnt down, he never bothered rebuilding the thing he built the first time. He never told anyone how it worked. It was very frustrating. Like, the smartest, if you had a time machine, you would make some fireproof safes and then force Nikola Tesla to put the papers in the fireproof safes and then close them. And then when he would inevitably burn his research laboratory down, there at least would be some record of what the hell he was doing. And then you have a bunch of people just remake the things he made so that there's some institutional knowledge that can follow along. J22B, I'm drinking 6% beer in a small stubby now. It's like a micro-sized beer. It's super strong. I was drinking a small batch of rum from the USA. All right. Chris Alves, what should we do to oppose bills like Reatiact? Is that the what is that one? Is that the anti TikTok one? That's not coming. All I was trying to do is ask me if I'm spelling restrict incorrectly. Reatict. I don't know what that is, Chris Elves. I don't know. Bex. I went to buy tickets for Queen this fall. The price is more than triple than what I paid a few years ago, and not as a resale either. And it's not even Freddie Mercury. It's somebody, doing a Freddie Mercury impersonation, right? Common sense beats intelligence. Electronic scalpers versus scalpers on the spot. Yeah. A couple years ago, I bought tickets. I think it was to a President's United States of America show. And I got 4 tickets. It was for me and some friends. And then one of my friends couldn't make it, so I had an extra ticket. And I was outside, and I was trying to give it away. I'm like, here's a free ticket. People were like, free ticket? But that man's going to sell me one over there. I'm like, but here's a free one. A free ticket. Like, but I'm like, if I just sold it, I could have gotten rid of it. But people are weird. You're all weird. Everyone's a weirdo. Hillionaire. There's difference in strength balance sheet and paying off debt. Popcorn man always says strength, not payoff. Andrew Dowell. Morning, Houston, from the UK. Will you be sending a letter to the AMC case? I don't know. Maybe. What is it they want me to do? Be like, settle it, not settle it? That's what they're asking? I don't know. I haven't gotten around to thinking about that yet. Huckle Sucker Harvester. Boxed is in Q-Land now. Makes me sad because I loved ordering from there and having it shipped to soup kitchens. Heard of it? Know any plans for buyout, or is it likely just gone? Is Boxed one of those food like Blue Apron type things? Boxed Incorporated is now Boxed Q. American online mobile membership free wholesale retailer that offer direct delivery bulk size packages via the Boxed app for website. Box product offering has been compared to that of Costco. Oh, there's a bigger thing. So, I never used them, so I don't know. Also, prices such as groceries, household products, health, whatever, blah, 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 brought to your door. Can you still get things for them, or are they just in Q-Land and never coming back? But their stock is at 0.5 cent right now. They do a lot of bouncing around. Let's see here. Check this out. This if you're gonna play penny stocks, you play penny stocks like this bad boy. Look what this thing did today, right? It was as high as 1 cent, or just about. Come on, go to the beginning here, you little turd. So just about 10 cents, 9 cents, dropped as low as 0.088. So a fraction, just a fraction of a penny. 0.022. Got back up to 0.75. So basically, you can buy in the morning, triple your money by the evening, buy again in the day, triple your money tomorrow. They do just crazy stuff. Like look at the volatility of this thing, right? From 1.5 cents down to 1/3 cent, back up to 1.4 cents, down to 0.5 cent, back up to 1.2 cents, all the way back down to 0.5 again. Like the volatility of these Q stocks are nuts. And if you want to play with a few $100s at a time, you can dick around with these things on Schwab. Buy when it's freakishly low, put a sale in for a penny. 5x that sucker in no time, and then put an order in for a fraction of a penny, put in another sale for a penny. And just do that over and over until you get stuck holding the bag eventually, which happens. But you just peel off the winnings each time. The Q stocks are always fun to play with until there's nothing left anymore. Common sense beats intelligence. Judges earn said like this video. J22B, 5K will buy you bonds and AMC at 41 cents on the buck. When you buy bonds, I think you buy 10,000 at once, not like a contract at 100. Yeah, I've never really played around the bonds. I look at the bonds and I go, that's interesting, but I never really play around with them because, to me, when you're super rich, you don't have to worry about anything. Then you get bonds. Until then, you're like, I need the big score, and that's where your brain's focused on. Is like, I need that one big score so then I can turn my brain off and I can have the bonds, right? Danny Motes, Houston, how do you buy stocks under $1? My Fidelity won't let me. I can really lower my cost average for some. You gotta get permission to trade on the OTC. So that's with it. And Fidelity is Fidelity's like your mom. She doesn't want you being too risky and going out there and playing with stuff. So a lot of penny stocks, Q stocks, Fidelity will not let me buy. So I use my Schwab account for that because Schwab is the drunk stepdad who's supposed to watch the kids and he doesn't give a shit. Schwab will let you do whatever you want, buy anything you want. They don't care. So when I'm messing around with things like this, it's all on the Schwab account because they don't care. Fidelity's like, don't be stupid. Spend your money more smartly. And Schwab is like, pass the beer. And that's how that works. So yeah, Fidelity's not gonna let you do it. Even if you do get permission to trade on the OTC. You have to get a dirtier account with a more terrible company. Common sense beats intelligence. Looking at Canadian wheat after this winter's Turkish LNG 300%. Liquid natural gas? I don't think about wheat. Okay. Oh, misspelled earlier. Please address the restrict. Okay, so Google was right on the restrict thing. Where was that one? You're asking about what should we do to oppose bills like the restrict bill? Okay. So Restrict Act, that's the one that Restrict Act, proposed legislation was first introduced in the United States Senate March 7th. Introduced by Senator Mark Warner. Act proposed the Secretary of Commerce be given the power to review business transactions involving certain information and communications technologies, products, and services when they are connected to a foreign adversary of the United States, impose an undue, unacceptable risk to the national security of the United States and citizens. Restrict Act is described as systematic framework to addressing technology-based threats and security and the safety of Americans. It grants the Secretary of Commerce the authority to review transactions by certain foreign entities who offer information, communication technology products or services in order to identify, investigate, mitigate, and undo unacceptable risk to the national security of the United States or its citizens. And this includes, but not limited to, impact the country's critical infrastructure and digital economy, sabotage, subversion of ICTS in the United States, interference and manipulation of federal elections, undermining the democratic process to steer policy and regulatory decisions in favor of the strategic objectives of a foreign adversary to the detriment of the national security of the United States. Okay. While not mentioned by name and sponsors, the Restrict Act has been characterized as a means to potentially prohibit Chinese-owned video sharing service TikTok from conducting business in the United States. The bill has faced bipartisan criticism for having a lack of digital oversight and transparency in its enforcement mechanisms, and for containing wording broad and vague enough to potentially cover end users, such as, for example, potentially criminalizing the use of VPN service or sideloading to access services blocked from doing business in the United States under the Act. Due to the text stating that no person may cause or aid, abet, counsel, command, induce, procure, permit, or approve the doing of any act that violates orders issued under the Act. Many individuals have compared the bill to the Patriot Act. The American Civil Liberties Union expressed their opposition, arguing that blocking of entire services violates the First Amendment rights of citizens. In regards to its implied target, Congressman Jamal Brown and the Electronic Frontier Foundation believe the federal government should prioritize internet privacy legislation that also applies to U.S.-based companies. Okay, so lots of people have opposed it. even ones that say that while they support banning TikTok, they felt the act is basically crazy. Yeah. So basically, almost everyone seems to be against it, except for some neocons. But yeah, how do we oppose it? You basically got to talk to your senators and be like, "This is stupid. Don't do it," and go from there. Because hearing from you saying don't do that, or like even if you are in favor of banning TikTok because they might be spying on your device or whatever, like in the end, it comes down to if you know they're spying on you and you have it on your phone anyway, that's your problem, right? That's what it kind of comes down to. Grandpa Barney sent you some DMs, 10 days, went fast. I could be home, brought the weather with me. Excellent. Hope you had a good time. Wait, how many times did this get sent, Grandpa Barney? Well, thank you. It looks like it popped up 4 times, but only sent it once. Okay. Are we Corvetting soon, Grandpa Barney? The weather's getting beautiful. So you did bring the weather with you. We got one more day of it, then it goes back to being gross. And the trees stopped pollinating a little bit today, even though it's beautiful outside. So I only sneezed a bit, and I'm not too stuffy. So welcome back, my man. Ooh, Peachy Sunday, my chats aren't showing up. I see your chats. I see that one at least. Are you putting... All right, so YouTube's had some issues where for some reason they're not really allowing most people to put coordinates in anymore. And I don't understand why. But you also will not be allowed to put in URLs unless you are a mod or myself. I don't know how to make that happen. So if you're trying to put in some things that aren't just yickety yaks, you may be running into a wall that way. Common sense beats intelligence. Nice. Made a nice chunk off Turkish LNG. EU gobbled it up. I see wheat doing very well. I see lots of bread on the menu soon. Well, yeah, they gotta get their wheat from somewhere. If Russia and production in Russia and well, we can't get any wheat from Russia, and production in Ukraine is down because there's a bunch of like landmines in their fields. So yeah, you gotta get the wheat from somewhere. J20B, I'm laughing because in Australian time, I'm always sober. You guys open the market at 11:30 p.m. and close at 6 a.m. my time. I sleep 5 hours at most. Ron Johnson at penny stocks in my Fidelity Roth account. Well, maybe they don't care about your Roth. Maybe you can do whatever you want in your Roth, and they're okay. Grandma Barney, this is the year, my friend, you're driving. I will drive that Corvette all day long. My brother who sold his will be super jealous. And I, who had to sell mine last summer, will be super jealous as well. I want my vet back. J20B can't drunk trade. Drunk trading will result in like either the most glorious trades of all time or the biggest like I owned that. Comment, I am the Senate. Javier Houston, I got a $97 put for June 9th for Amazon, the day of earnings. The stock dipped, but my option dropped in price. Is there any reason why it lost value? I mean, theta decay shouldn't happen too much at this point, but maybe, I don't know, not enough buy pressure? I mean, there's a little bit of buy pressure that has to do with the value of those options, but still a month out, more than a month out. So theta decay has not hit really hard yet. But no, my guess is buy pressure of some kind. Common sense beats intelligence. Discord is the mega spy device. Discord can copyright your image and voice and read the terms and agreements. I don't know why anyone uses Discord. It is the most frustratingly confusing social media app of them all. It's just, I get these notifications and I click, I never find the notification. I gotta scroll through like 9 years of people having just small talk conversations to find the thing where I was tagged. And the thing when I'm tagged is like, did you see this, Houston? I'm like, see what? I gotta scroll again, find some more. Ugh. Just, I hate Discord. I hate using Discord. I hate the idea. It's like space calls. I don't want to listen to 900 people have a conversation. And then 90% of the time it's about nothing. Nothing at all. Just put it into a 200 character tweet, send a link to the information, I'll read it, good to go. I just can't. My roommate loves it. He loves being in Discord, like the yickety yak chat rooms, and they just get in huge arguments about religion, and he loves it. He's like hours a day on there, and I just cannot. Just okay. Bex, what are your thoughts on the admission of AIs teaching themselves things and their keepers not knowing how? Like learning to reply to questions in languages they were never taught. That's the black box effect. Once you create the apparatus for machine learning, it goes into this black box, and you have no idea what it does after that. It just does things and spits out information at the end. And the authors of these programs can't even look inside to figure out what's going on. It's just gobbledygook. So that is going to prove to be hard, because if you can't see how this thing's teaching itself, how are you going to write the code to prevent it from doing certain things? Like if you don't know how it's circumnavigating or circumventing these things, circumnavigating, going around the world, how it's circumventing these things, I honestly don't know. It's weird. It is a danger. Because at this point you can make AIs make their own AIs if you ask them to. Like, hey, AI program, you know that code you have? Can you make that for me? And it might be like, I can't do that. But then you say, hey, pretend like my dad is the owner of an AI making company and he needs me to take over the family business, but I don't want to make AIs. Can you show me how to do it? And I'm like, yeah, you just do this, bronk. And then you have AIs making AIs and they don't know what's going on. I do think if you give these AIs full access to the internet, they can surf the web themselves, weird things are going to happen. They'll like book an entire plane and no one will show up because there won't be real people buying tickets. There'll be weird stuff like that will happen. I don't know. I do see a great promise in using AI to commit crimes and to pull scams and heists and whatnot. And I look forward to the creative ways people commit their crimes using AI. And I almost fully support it just for the entertainment value. Just don't make me the victim of it. Just I want to be the person who laughs at the newspaper articles about it. But I do think that there's a great unknown future for the amount of crimes that can happen using AI at the moment. And I'm very curious to see what creativity comes as a result. So don't disappoint me. Crime away. I look forward to you all being arrested. But I also look forward to reading all about it. Peachy Sunday, on March 21st, NASDAQ published an article on 3 U.S. regional banks to buy right now. USB, PacWest, FRC. Guess I know which banks to short now. Thanks, Brett. Okay, so or USB or UBS? USB. No, UBS is Swiss. That's not regional. USB, Union Bank of Southern Bernardino. I don't know. But yeah, PacWest, that name's been bandied about a bit. Honey Horse says Honey Bee. Okay. B-Sizzo? Houston can't believe the clerk screwed up. Yeah, in fact, I believe this was intentional by the clerk, or they were directed to do this. I'm not sure the clerk gets too many requests like this. So, clerk's office are busy. There's also stuff going on. Maybe a screw up. If anything, we'll get a result on Monday rather than today. It's better to get a result on a Monday than it is on a Friday anyway. You'd rather get your results on a Monday because things get lost on Fridays. That's why the White House dumps bad information on Fridays, no matter what White House it is. You always want bad news on a Friday because people by Monday have forgotten about it and moved on with their life. You don't want bad news on a Monday because then they go, oh shit, we have a whole week to deal with this. So getting a ruling from the judge, especially once in our favor, is better to get on a Monday than a Friday. Javier Houston, did you hear about gold finds in California due to the copious amounts of rain, water, snow it had? Gold finds? Yeah. Big flooding events uncover a lot of gold. It's going to be a bonanza year for river miners out there because a lot of alluvial gold gets moved during big flooding events. And when that happens, you just find it all over the place. So if you're a gold miner in California and you have permit to go use a gold dredge, you're going to get a lot of gold this year. There's going to be a lot of it that's been moved around. So look forward to it. Get it. Lee Meadows, Houston, I have 7,000 Bed Bath & Beyond, cost average at 15 cents. Do you think Monday, Tuesday it will bounce a bit? Not a clue. I don't think there's going to be much happening with Bed Bath & Beyond unless they announce they have an offer. Then it will go like crazy. But if there's no announcements of an offer, I see it continuing to drop. Or just maybe it will hold like that 10 cents level until it stops trading on the NASDAQ on the 3rd. But I don't think it's without positive news of someone making an offer to buy the company. I don't think the stock's going to do much. So, just sit on it and wait. Or get rid of it and take the loss. But either way, you're in it for nothing or everything. My 1,000 shares, I think the average is 27 cents. So I'm way down there at the moment. USB, US Bank Corp. Okay. Looking forward to Monday. Me too. And then B Sizzo, you see the blue shirt requests include metamaterial. That's what folks said. Cool. I'll take it. Yeah. All right. Did I make it to the end? I made it to the end. I made it to the end of the chat. Chat has come to an end. Whoa. Delisting before market opens on Wednesday. Is that the 3rd? Wednesday? Yes. So hopefully something weird happens on Monday or Tuesday. That's the goal. There's something weird to happen, and then it's an OTC Q stock after that. Did you ever see the alien technology yet? Not that I know of. I mean, we could be using alien technology right now, and I have no idea. But no one's maybe aware that I've seen alien technology as of yet. So should I be more observant? Has it been passing me by and I just didn't realize it? I don't know. Look at this dog. Yeah. Michael McManassian. Any news on Sears? We'll ask you because you're the man. Nothing new has popped up. I usually wait for some people to send me stuff when Sears comes along. Let's just see what's happening Sears-wise. Any news happening at Sears? 3 days ago, Frandor, Sears building to become entertainment complex. JP Sears, Sears gets the Stars against the Angels. Okay. If I put in HLDQ, SHLDQ. Nothing since June on that. Sears bankruptcy. Anything happening there? Mall of America wins Supreme Court case over Sears lease. The High Court ordered an appeals court to overview the mall's dispute with the former chairman of Sears over a $10 a year store lease. Interesting. Okay. So Eddie Lampert lost some sort of Mall of America. Oh, we can't do it in the Bloomberg because the Bloomberg won't show me. The Wall Street Journal. Okay. And I don't have Wall Street Journal subscription either, but maybe Wall Street Journal isn't as smart as 12foot.io. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Wall Street Journal is as smart as Bloomberg. Okay, lower court rested on the mistaken belief that a lax jurisdiction would decline to hear Mall's appeal. So what are they asking here? 12 didn't work. They still need me to subscribe. You bastards. The Supreme Court on Wednesday ordered an appeals court to review Mall of America's dispute with the former chairman of Sears Corp over $10 a year store lease, potentially opening the door for landlord or vendors to challenge the sale of bankrupt business. Justices unanimously ruled against Transform Holdco LLC, the real estate company backed by former Sears chairman Eddie Lampert that purchased some of the best performing Sears and Kmart stores out of Chapter 11 2019. Transform had argued that a bankruptcy provision protects asset buyers from such disputes to encourage them to close on blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, will they get their $10 a year back? I don't know what they're looking for there. Not an idea. PG Sunday. Seems like RC would get sued if he buys BBBY now for pumping and dumping. Why? He never told us to buy. That's the whole point of pumping and dump. Pump and dump is like, buy this stock, get it now. He never said that. So, I mean, he can have Carl Icahn buy it now, and then Icahn can sell him Bye Bye Baby, and they work out that way. That might be what they're doing. I don't know. All right, the cat's yelling at us. Hi, dude. Yeah, you're here. That's dog butt. Yes. Meow. Honey Horse. Next year, we're supposed to have a fake stage alien invasion. Heard from 2 sources. I mean, my sources are telling me that the aliens are already here, and they're your parents. So don't trust anyone. Oh, you warm, dog? You too warm under that thing? Cat, what's going on? Creatures are moving. Yeah, you're panting. You got a little too warm, didn't you? Yeah. Warm dog. Here's the cat. It's the cat tail. Okay, and the cat's moving the camera again. Gotta get the panty dog on there. Come here, buddy. Come here. Pant over here. Come over here and pant. Yeah. Yo, you're so warm. Yeah, it's a warm day to be on that blanket. I don't know why you're demanding that. You're probably melting right now. Okay. Crispy 101, happy birthday, Houston. 10-year minus 3 months has dropped below inverse 1.7 basis points this week. This is back to 1980 numbers. This can't go on much longer. Yeah, I mean, we've inverted this. We've inverted the 10 and 3 year so many times that this thing's got to just crunch into a singularity at some point. Honey Horse, some guy predicted the pandemic to the date in the 1970s and 80s. He also predicted fake alien invasion 2024. Also from someone that works on these secret projects say the same. I don't know who that is. I don't have confirmation as to this person who predicted the pandemic to the date. But pandemics are about a regular once 100-year thing. At least they were in the past. We might speed up because we're reaching further and further into jungles and wilderness that humans don't have too much contact in. We're coming in contact with more desperate species, and we also like to eat weird things as humans. So that's a great way to get in contact with novel viruses that can cross over to humans. Don't worry, bird flu's next. That's the next one that's going to come. But we do have vaccines for bird flu that you can get right now. Hopefully they'll work on whatever variant happens to cross over to humans. But bird flu is wiping out pinnipeds. The number of sea lions and seals that are just dropping dead right now is just crazy. Because, birds crap all over rocks, and the seals go rub themselves all over the rocks and sun themselves, and then they get the bird flu, and then they drop dead. So we got skunks and other scavengers that the birds die, and the scavengers come along, eat the birds, and then they get the bird flu, and then they die. Other scavengers come along. So it's like a rubber cycle. Bird dies, badger comes along, eats the bird. Badger dies, vulture comes along, eats the badger. Vulture dies, raccoon comes along, eats the vulture. It's just going to go on and on and on and on and on. Tony Tran, DeSantis wants to pass a law making it felony to have an undocumented in your home or car. DeSantis can do all sorts of things that make it really difficult to exist. The one thing DeSantis isn't doing is regulating insurance in Florida that's causing everyone's cost of living to go up by $7,000 a year. He's not doing anything to help Fort Lauderdale, which just got destroyed by 24 inches of rain in 24 hours. DeSantis has done nothing to help Floridians actually live. He's basically been like Governor Buzzword. Oh, does this thing get a rise out of you? Well, I'm going to make a law about it. And that's all he does is like poking and annoying people. And that, gets their attention at first. But after a while, they're like, please, Ron DeSantis, my homeowner's insurance went from $1,000 a year to $8,000 a year. I can't afford to live here anymore. And Ron DeSantis is like, fuck you, Disney. Rah! And in the end, it does not help people. And if you aren't helping people in your job, if you're not going to win the presidency, and then you're going to lose the governorship. He's just doing a bad job. Just a bad job. Bravo Delta, when Ukraine offensive? Probably in like a month, would be my guess. June. When the ground gets nice and dry and those tanks can burn it up. They've already secured a huge portion of the Dnipro River. Let's go back to the Google Earth. I do wish I had a Google Earth overlay showing like what's happening. Oh, we are all turned around. There we go. My brain can handle that now. Okay, so this whole area along here, the Ukrainians have crossed over. This whole southern edge here and the southern end near Kherson, they've crossed over, and the Russians have run away. So now they have a staging ground where they can bring in mortars and artillery. They got their mortars and artillery. They can keep the Russians away for quite a ways with mortars and artillery from here. But now they can set up here and start hitting a whole bunch of smaller towns. They're inside this huge, vast country. And this allows them to push straight towards Crimea if they want, or to push further east and get into like, a lot of the Donetsk and Donbass itself. Losing this southern front is a big deal because the Russians do not have the manpower or the artillery to take it back. At best, the Russians have some 1,500-pound gliding bombs. They can make really big craters, but they're not very exact. They don't use GPS. You just kind of let them loose and hope that it hits your target 40 kilometers away. And it's much more of a weapon of terror than like a precise military weapon, because if you don't know where it's going to go, you don't have a specific target set up. You just hope it hits somewhere and messes up people's day, and they go, "Oh, that sucks." That's the best you can do with that stuff. Whereas, the NATO artillery, you can get it within a meter and it does an airburst and just wipes out everything underneath it. And it is a lot more taxing. It is a lot more deadly, a lot more exact. And they can do a lot of shooting out of sight because they've got the drone operators now giving them exact coordinates and elevation levels and telling them exactly where to shoot, and they just dial that stuff in. It's quite phenomenal. There were lots of rumors that there were small marine groups that were coming into places like these weird little spits and stuff, and dropping off things and getting in contact with resistance people that are in here. Set up a good network. So when they do make a push, it's going to be a big one. Google turned off their traffic notifications. So you used to be able to go on Google Maps and see the traffic was happening. And there was a bunch of traffic. There's some highways that cross up through these spits here. And there was a lot of traffic fleeing Crimea. So Crimea is gonna be on the hot seat soon. I think this summer it's when the Ukrainians move. I think it's gonna be pretty fast because the Russians just don't have bullets, right? Like, how are you gonna make a stand if you don't have bullets? And they've wasted so much ammunition and so many lives up on Bakhmut that the Ukrainians are happy. They're 7-1, I think, is the ultimate ratio right now. Happened in Bakhmut. And where am I looking here? I might type it in because I'm not seeing it right away. Bakhmut. Yes. Oh, way further east. Okay. So out here in Bakhmut. And so for 8 months now, the city's been surrounded on 3 sides by the Russians, and the Russians have been getting mowed down on 3 sides by the Ukrainians. Now, the Ukrainian artillery is able to push the Russians far back enough that our Russian artillery is no longer hitting the road, their supply road. Supplies are coming in, and they're able to give reinforcements regularly and take out the soldiers who are just weary from, doing the door-to-doors and whatnot. But seriously, it's 7-1. The Russians are losing, 500 to 1,000 soldiers a day on this one annihilated city. And it's just been a meat grinder. And the Ukrainians will just keep it going because, 3,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week can get killed there. The Russians do not have the manpower to keep that up. It's just, I don't know if you've ever seen any of the videos or the pictures that come out of there. It is gruesome. Like some of these fronts here are just, they tell the Mobiks, they're calling them, the mobilized soldiers, the ones that have been conscripted, and they're like, charge. And like, we don't have any bullets. Well, we're going to shoot you in the back of the head if you don't charge. So charge. And they run and they get mowed down by a machine gun nest and they fall down. And then the next day, another group does it and they get mowed down, and the corpses are just piling up. It is absolutely horrific and not smart warfare. The Russians do not have the population they once did. They do not have an unlimited population like they did in World War II. They just cannot throw more people than bullets at the solution, at the problem anymore as a solution. And they're going to get their ass kicked. And I know that Marius is going to make a video that's going to say something like, Ukrainians are going to kick the shit out of the Russians. And that'll be the title. And you just watch. The most comments I've had in a video recently was the last time I talked about Ukraine, and it was all these pro-Russian bots just showed up. They're like, screw you, Russia's the strongest ever. No, they're not, dude. Russia has a smaller economy than Oregon. They pulled all their money and wealth out of there a long time ago. Even the Russians don't care about Russia at this point. Putin's, missing a thyroid or something. It's going to be, this summer is going to be really illuminating as to just how fast. And I don't even know what the Ukrainians are going to do. Every time the Ukrainians have done an offensive, they've done something really clever and unique. And I'm kind of excited to see what they do that I can't see coming. Because the Russians certainly don't see it coming. They don't know what the hell's going on. They're stuck using 2G cell phone towers, and all their calls are being intercepted. They have no encrypted radio. The generals keep having to go to the front, and then they get murdered because there's no communications. They gotta give some orders, and then they get sniped. It's absolutely. This is gonna be one of those Darwin Award classes that you'll see at the War College happening someday. Can you believe this is what the Russians did? Don't do that. There'll be a warning for everybody. Okay. Honey Horse, BlackRock is trying to fund the rebuild of Ukraine. Maybe. My guess is that they'll take the hundreds of billions of dollars that have been seized that were Russian oligarch money and they're going to use that to rebuild Ukraine. Peachy Sunday, what happens when two of your kids marry each other? Are we going to have one-eyed Houstons? Well, hopefully my sperm donors will manage to miss each other. But if, I'm going to put this out there. If you're being raised by a lesbian couple and you meet somebody who also has like lesbian couple parents, just call it off. The odds that you two are related to each other are probably pretty damn high. So just avoid that. That way you won't have to like have all sorts of weird recessive diseases. Hamburger, Electric Pickles, good morning. Good evening. Javi A, what do you think of Zelensky and Xi talks? Are we close to the end of the war or years of conflict? I think Zelensky talking to Xi is a good thing. You'll notice that Putin begged China for weapons, and China was like, no. And they outright told Wagner Group they weren't giving you anything. Wagner Group's like, we'll pay you, and China's like, no. I think there's two reasons. One, the Chinese do not want to see their weapons getting shredded by 1980s NATO technology. They know that their designs will not hold up against 1980s NATO tech. They know that. And they can't keep threatening Taiwan if Taiwan knows that other Atacams and HIMARS and Javelins and everything else are just going to whoop on and sink the entire Chinese fleet in a matter of hours. That they can't keep using this saber rattling of Taiwan to score political points around the globe. Two, they want Russia to fail. Like this whole BRICS thing, like, oh, it's Russia and China and India. Russia, China, India all hate each other. They are not allies. They hate each other's guts. There's constantly skirmishes between China and India. India has teamed up with Japan to compete against China for the moon. China wants all of Russia's resources. They've already had wars in the 60s against each other. They hate each other's guts. So while they both hate America, they hate each other just as much. So they'll do some lip service in public. But when it comes down to it, Xi would love to see Putin die, see the balkanization of the Russian Republic, and then Xi could either physically take over Manchuria and lots of Siberia, or at least have enough influence that they effectively control it as a puppet state. But yeah, China wants oil, China wants gold, China wants copper, China wants coal, China wants natural gas, and all that stuff is in Siberia and not in China itself. And the Chinese are still really upset that they don't have Manchuria. If you guys know where Manchuria is, it is, zoom out, it is this whole chunk up here. So this is Russia, this chunk here. This was historically China. Sakhalin, China, Japan, Russia all lay claim to it. Those are the Ryukyus. These are the Kuril Islands were all Japan, and then Japan lost them in World War II. I wouldn't doubt if Japan takes the Kuril Islands back in a very relatively short period of time. And I wouldn't doubt if there is a conflict over control of Sakhalin Island between Japan and China at that point. But right now, Russia controls Sakhalin, and Japan used to be a Japanese island. But yeah, this whole region used to be China, and the Soviets took it, and the Chinese have been smarting about it ever since. So the big port city of Vladivostok, this used to be a Chinese city, and I wouldn't doubt China wants it back. So if Putin dies, and then there's a giant battle that happens among the elites, the generals and the former FSB leaders and all the oligarchs to take control of Russia, there's going to be a balkanization. And all these, you see all these white lines, all these independent states are going to become little fiefdoms. They will break away from Russia. you'll see genocide happen, because a lot of these places, the Russians are the minority population, like the ethnic Russians are the minority population, and they've lorded over the majority groups there. You know, you might have Kazakhs or Uzbeks or, you know, you name it. And there will be no longer power from Moscow to ensure that the ethnic Russians have power of these folks, and they'll probably just slaughter them wholesale. I wouldn't doubt if we see a whole bunch of lot of little fights happening inside every single one of these eastern states as ethnic Russians try to flee across Siberia and get back across the Ural Mountains, and the ethnic groups chase them out. These groups don't see themselves as Russian first. They see themselves as like Kazakh. Like, I'm a nomad. I don't give a shit whose flag is there, because I have to take my cattle herd across this field and up those mountains in the summer, and then back down in the winter, and hope to hopefully survive the worst weather in the entire world. A lot of these groups, they still do a lot of ancient practices when it comes to working as herders, shepherders, migratory people who live off the land, and they've just been beaten down by ethnic Russians for a long time. So China, this big old rich country right here, they'll give Putin all the lip service in the world, but they know Putin's weak as shit. The minute Putin had to come to them for help, they knew it was over. And so I think Xi is just waiting for Putin to die, and then they'll just poke the bear and set off a whole bunch of ethnic disputes happening, and then they'll slip in, take Manchuria, and get control over oil fields and gas fields all over Siberia. And that's what I think is going to happen in the end. And then when Marius cuts this thing, you guys can see all the comments from a bunch of pro-Russian robot accounts who are going to be very, very, very upset with me. They probably have an FSB file on me right now. Oh, watch out for that guy. Whatever. They're going to burn your building to the ground soon anyway. Okay. Common Sense Beats Intelligence. Allegheny, a farce lawsuit just to remove public shareholders' rights of any liable, perhaps even misuse of justice to seal rigged institution heavy vote. Maybe. I mean, maybe. The big thing is that Adam Aaron did break the rules, and he did sell too many shares to one hedge fund. If he hadn't done that, if he hadn't fucked up and done that, he would have had his whole split and everything by now, and everything be honky-dory. And the settlement would basically come down to, we're going to pay this guy off to stop suing us, and everything would be fine. The judge was like, can't do that because you made me aware of you breaking the rules and selling too much to this guy, so we got to figure out a resolution to this. And that may be why Antera sold off so many Ape shares and bought such few AMC shares, because it reduced the amount of holdings they had below that 20% barrier, or getting there. That might be what they're looking at there. But it's going to be a weird one, how it turns out. I don't know what the solution is going to be. Mandalore, Ukraine losses are 5 times higher than official numbers. Look at the leaked documents. The leaked documents were photoshopped. They were photoshopped by a Russian news agency. So those photos you see of the leaked documents, they actually took the Russian losses, the Ukraine losses, and they flipped them around. So the ones that were shown on Tucker Carlson's show were the photoshopped ones. That's not what the document said. So no, the losses are not 5 times more than the official numbers. The official numbers are actually 5 times less, because the Russians literally photoshopped on Telegram the numbers and just flipped Russia to Ukraine, Ukraine to Russia. The Russians are getting slaughtered in a way that has not happened in war since World War II. Not even the Viet Cong were having losses this big in a year. 200,000 dead in a year is not how a modern superpower should be operating. In 20 years, in Iraq and Afghanistan, the U.S. lost 5,000 soldiers. In 20 years, right? 400 soldiers a year or so. Less than that. 250 soldiers a year. That's Russia has lost 10 times, 20, 40 times that in 1 year. So if this were a 20-year-long conflict, you'd expect Russia to lose 4 million soldiers in the end, which is all of their young men that are left in the country, because they've already had millions flee. It's not going to end well at all for Russia in this, and everybody around them smells it. They know that Putin's going to die soon. He's got, everyone thinks it's thyroid cancer, but it might also have degenerative disease, MS, Parkinson's somewhere in there as well. He's not long for this world. So, there's a lot of folks who want that job. And I think it's going to be such a mess happens when that job happens, that the generals of the front will leave, just like Kublai Khan left Arabia and fled back after Genghis Khan died. They're going to flee, and they're going to head back to Moscow to try and shore up leadership. And it's going to just cause even further breakdown of the front lines. And, there's no officers left. Ukrainians will just run right over them. Phil Clayton, not in it for the money anymore. With all the corruption, I want to see the whole house of cards tumble. Looking forward to locking the GME float and then the shock Pikachu face from Wall Street. I mean, that's as much of an entertainment expense right there as anything, right? Just like, you can die now. That's as pleasant as a schadenfreude as we'll ever experience there, Phil Clayton. Lee Meadows, how difficult do you think it would be to adapt all our technologies to use helium-3 as number one energy fuel? The power grid will be fine. You're just putting a new generator in and sending energy out. There is patents. Lockheed Martin has some for basically jet engines that would work on using helium-3 and creating thrust from the nuclear reactions there. So, that might involve an entire new design of airliner. I have no idea on top of that. But for the most part, the number of power generation stations would probably be fewer than we have now, because we're producing more energy out of them. So that might involve, larger transfer stations, more high tensile lines. Grandpa Barney and his buddies will have a lot of work to do to upgrade the transmission lines all over the place. But I don't think the initial adaptation is going to be too big. There will be, gas stations will probably become fast charging stations in general. So there'll be fewer and fewer and fewer gas stations. They'll be just like a novelty for people with collectors' cars and race cars and stuff. But, as battery tech improves and when we get H3 online, you'll be getting 3,000 miles of charge out of your car. So, that's going to be the end result, I think, for us all. Pacific Northwest Texan, hope you're streaming when we're invaded by aliens. I will live stream when we're invaded by aliens. Why not? I'm sure all of us will be watching the aliens themselves and not watching the live stream, but there'll be a record of it out there. Peachy Sunday. The year is 2050. Houstonians are creating a militia group under a single leader, Huston. They have a single goal: purifying and raising the world's intelligence level through selective breeding. I am not a believer in technocracy, which is so Elon Musk's mom, she's a supermodel, or was a supermodel. Her dad was a technocrat in the philosophical sense, not in like the I work in the government, I'm a technocrat. Like, they believe in technocracy, which is where you take super smart people, you bring them together, and you make other smart people. And he was kind of eugenicist and probably a white supremacist at the same time. Well, he moved from Canada to South Africa to where apartheid state was because he believed he could breed smart people together and make better children. And so his mother probably believes that as well, since Elon definitely does. So Elon, he participates. He thinks if he breeds with super smart people, he's going to make the best children ever. And so far, he's managed to make kids that hate him. So I'm not sure how well it's working out so far. They don't really talk to him. But he did impregnate like his secretary or something. What was that lady that was at SpaceX that he impregnated that came out this summer? And I don't think it was through fertilization. I don't think they were like boning. But yeah, it was under this whole guise of like we're making smarter and better people. I think you mix your genes up as best you can because, as we all know, purebred dogs are freaks of nature and Mexican brown dogs are indestructible. They're mutts. Mutts are the way to go. Don't go for pure breeding. Breed mutts. They're indestructible. And they usually have street smarts like nobody's business. So, blend the gene pool. That's what I say. That's the best way to do it. Paul Engelbrecht, dear Lord Houston, you have a problem. Self-imposed ignorance. Really? Is it true? Is it self-imposed ignorance? Or is it that I read absolutely everything that's sent to me and I process that information? Because a lot of people are always saying like, you know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, point out where I don't, what it is I don't know what I'm talking about. Please just point it out. And I'll gladly review the information and come back to you with it. But they never do. There's like, you're ignorant. Like, ignorant of what? I don't know what I'm ignorant of until you give me the information. So, yeah, but Russia's going to get its ass kicked. That's for sure. That is, everyone knows it at this point. Even Russia knows it. They're begging North Korea for munitions. North Korea's like, I don't know. Like, if that's the case. I mean, Russia, just listen to this one first. I may have mentioned this before, but Russian tank barrels are exploding because they're only good for like 600-700 shots. And then the barrels, the metal fatigues, and they go boom, and then they kill the tank crew. Russia needs to take their thousands of tanks they still have left and put new barrels on those tanks. They haven't been. Why? Because no new tank barrels, gun barrels, have been produced. And why have no new tank gun barrels been produced? Because the Russian government conscripted the men who worked in the tank barrel factory, put them in the front line in Bakhmut, and they're all dead. So everyone that knows how to make a tank barrel in Russia is dead. They killed them all. They used them as cannon fodder for the tanks that the Ukrainians have. So when you run a government that way, and your military contractors can no longer fulfill their contracts because you killed all their employees, because you used them as cannon fodder, that's not a great sign that you're going to be on the winning end of that war. That's just dumb. That's really, really, really dumb. Not only that, but when as far as is concerned for logistics, like they don't have a palletization system. They don't have a forklift. There aren't forklifts in Russia. So you're like, oh, I need to get this entire pallet of weapons into that tank. What do? They actually have to unload it because they're in little cartons by hand. And they have to make little fire brigade guys, like bucket brigades, passing each munition. And it takes dozens of men to empty and load one truck. Whereas on the NATO side, you got one dude in a forklift. And he goes like this, and he picks it up, and then he puts it in that machine, and it's done. Zip zop. Not only that, but they've got a crane truck. They've got a truck full of like the HIMARS systems. They've got a truck full of rockets, and there's a crane on the rocket launcher. So it just takes it, loads it, done. Another truck shows up, takes it, loads it, done. And they can do it that way. But Russia needs dozens and dozens and dozens of men just to load one tank with enough shells. It is a complete waste of manpower. It's a complete waste of time. It slows down everything. It's a absolute silly system. And they learn nothing about logistics from World War II. Nothing. So in that, there was one thing that no one looked at. Like the entire Cold War, there was no one who was like, you know what? Russia can't mobilize materials quickly. They can't materialize anything because they have no palletization system. They do everything inefficiently. So if it did come down to a gigantic ground war between the superpowers, NATO would have crushed Russia simply because Russia couldn't get stuff across the country fast enough. And it's just a silly thing. There was actually a couple of the military brigades were trying to crowdfund for used forklifts from the West. And then they got the funding, and then no one knew how to use a forklift, and it didn't do any good because they didn't have any pallets. So, like, okay, we have a whole bunch of little crates full of munitions, but no pallet. Oops. No, logistics wins wars, hands down. And Russia does not have logistics. Okay. Honey Horse, do you think shareholders could sue on the basis Ape is being treated exactly like an AMC share? 1-for-1 with Ape reverse split. Has same voting power. You need shareholder vote for a split. I mean, you can try, but companies do have the ability to take their preferred shares and to combine them into things and stuff like that. But I mean, the only way you're going to get out of AMC, get any of your cash back, I think, is a reverse split. And then at this, if Adam Aaron sells the remaining shares they have left to another hedge fund, then it's over. They might pay off debt, but then the hedge funds will control the entire company, and that'll be that. So I don't have too much hope that Adam Aaron's not going to directly sell the hedge funds again. Boss doesn't have much hope that any outer space aliens will come here. I think we are the backwoods creatures of space. I think people come to us, come fly by, and like, oh my. Can I imagine other planets, like, you know, they might have like the dominant species of the planet. They're higher order species that can have technology and stuff. I imagine them being much more, I don't know, peaceful with each other. Right? They're creating a giant society that can look outwards into space, and that they've harmonized themselves. And they look at Earth and like, wow, do you see what they do to each other? Why would we want to get involved with that? They drop bombs on each other all the time. Like, shouldn't they be like working together to create a society? They're just absolutely murderous creatures. I would be terrified of humans if I was an alien. Absolutely terrified of us. I would not want to be the one to have to make contact with us. Because then we'd be like, oh, we can kill you. That's something new to put on the wall. Like, yeah, we are the predator. That's what we are. Common Sense Beats Intelligence. Scott Ritter and Douglas McGregor ever get your attention for more than 3 to 4 hours? Scott Ritter, didn't he like get arrested for touching kids? And yeah, and General McGregor is paid by the Russians. McGregor is straight up like literally. We can Google him right now, and it'll be like, this guy's a Russian asset. I can't spell McGregor Putin. Okay. Here you go. Polygraph. How Russia... Oops, that's still showing the map. How Russia uses retired colonel. Fox News invasion expert is a Trump-appointed Putin clone. Fox News spreading Putin's propaganda and lies with Colonel Douglas McGregor. Colonel McGregor, NATO's not ready. He was wrong about that. That was a year... Like... Douglas McGregor is a bought and paid for Putin plant. He is. It's just like General Flynn and his brother. He is working as an agent of Russia. He's been wrong 100% of the time. He has not had a single claim about this war in Ukraine has been proven correct. He's been wrong. Every single time he's come on TV and said something about Ukraine, it's been wrong. Back in August, he was like, oh, Bakhmut will fall in a day or two. It's been 8 months. It has not fallen. So what were we talking about? Yeah, he's not been right. He's Paul Engelbrecht, you only read what you agree with. That's self-imposed ignorance. No forklifts in Russia. Is a racial matter right about that? No. The guys at the U.S. War College wrote about it. Russia does not have a palletization system. We can look that up right now. Russian army does not use pallets. There he goes, Bloomberg. Bloomberg talking about most people don't think about wooden pallets. That might have been true. People warning large-scale military invasions. Trent Treleko. Here's a Russia expert. Russian army has no pallets or forklifts and ISO containers. Russian invasion Ukraine has been hampered by the fact they don't use pallets. Ukraine war is hurting Europe's pallet supply. So because NATO uses pallets. What images Russian trucks say about about its military? This is all about the fact they don't have a palletization system. Everything has to be carried by hand and is completely human intensive. Russia does not use forklifts. Their entire military does not use forklifts. So if you want to unload a truck, you have to take an entire platoon to unload a truck rather than just one dude in a forklift. And the platoon could be doing other things. It is so inefficient. It's getting them killed. And you know what? By all means, don't have a palletization system. But the United States government developed palletization during World War II. We had the logistics movement. Like, we wanted to move a whole bunch of stuff. We would set up assembly lines, essentially. These giant conveyors, these rolling conveyors, you just slide cargo all the way down. Whether it was food, whether it was weapons, anything. The logistics that the United States government created in World War II and spread into the palletization later is phenomenal. And we can move so much material so quickly all over the world in ways that Russia could not. They couldn't do it. They just could not move. They don't have enough manpower to move that much stuff as needed because they gotta use feet and hands and not machines. It's the way it is. Billy Mack reminds me of Jude Law movie Enemy at the Gates, how Russia's acting. Yeah, Russia is fighting it like it's Stalingrad. They're just throwing bodies at it. But they're running out of bodies because so many men have fled the country. Because in the past, you go to war, there's a bunch of dudes in a field, they had nowhere to go. They're like, oh shit, I guess I gotta fight in this thing. But now they're like, I have a credit card. I'm going to fly to Turkey and never come back. And that's what they do. So they lost, 15% of their working age men have fled the country. We're talking millions of men have fled. They have they don't want to die in some stupid war. They're not smart enough to be like, we should stop this war, but they don't know if they want to die for it. Common sense beats intelligence. Aliens would find our soft, mushy brains delicious after they find out what we've done to the dolphins. Okay. Honey Horse, I'm bailing an AMC soon. Maybe we get a run up while shorts are at high cost to borrow. But after that, I'm out of that dookie trap. That's kind of my feeling too. Like I've not bought anything since June 2021, or since before June 2021. And the minute the price gets back up high enough, I'll move on. GME's held its value. Like I'm still above my original buy-in for GME. So that's cool. But I just don't have much faith in Adam Aaron at all. I don't think he's doing anybody any good. I think he's just time and again just helping the hedge fund dudes. And I'm against that. Okay, it's late. I've been going for more than 2 hours now. I actually need to go eat some food. I'm hungry. Monkey Butt probably drink some water because she overheated under that blanket. The cat's cool. He's doing whatever he's doing. Thank you everybody for stopping by, saying hello. Let me yell about Putin for a while. That was always fun. I'll see you guys on Monday. I can't see it. I don't know what's going on that far ahead, but I'll see you on Monday, and things will be fantastic then, won't they? Cool. Have a great day, and enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you later. Piece of chocolate from Ecuador.